Today, 26 September 2025, Friday, 3 p.m. onwards. A very good afternoon to one and all, and my respectful regards to everyone. I am Dr. Bhuvan Nagpal, President of Practicing Oral Pathologists and Microbiologists Association, and I am also the chairperson for Oral Pathology Advocacy Committee, constituted by POPMA, and under which we conduct POPMA study clubs. So it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to yet another insightful session of POPMA Study Club Multidisciplinary Series, September edition. And at POPMA, our vision has always been clear to promote the specialty oral pathology practice and to bring practicing oral pathologists, medical professionals, and students onto one platform where we can learn, share, and grow together. Each session is designed not just to expand the knowledge but also to refine our ethical, clinical, and diagnostic perspectives in the rapidly evolving landscape of healthcare. Today's session touches upon a subject that affects every one of us: ethics in the digital age. As technology becomes inseparable from our daily professional lives, the question is no longer whether we use it or how we use it responsibly, thoughtfully, and always in the best interest of our patients. Before I move forward, I would like to pause for a solemn moment. Our fraternity recently suffered a profound loss with the sudden demise of Dr. Anita Maria Borges, one of India's most respected histopathologists and an international luminary in oncopathology. Dr. Borges' pioneering work in head and neck pathology, her role in setting benchmarks for laboratory excellence, and her lifelong mentorship have left an indelible legacy that continues to inspire us. On behalf of POPMA and all the members, I offer our heartfelt tribute to her memory. As a mark of respect, we dedicate today's POPMA Study Club session and also our forthcoming first Practicing Oral Pathologist Conference, POPCon 2025, organized by POPMA, to the life and legacy of Dr. Anita Borges Madam. Her values of precision, integrity, and patient centered care will remain guiding principles for all of us. With that thought, I once again extend a warm welcome to all of you. And now it's my privilege to introduce our today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Mandana Donoghue ma'am. Dr. Mandana ma'am, she is a senior oral pathologist and academician with over 3 years, 3 decades of experience. She is the founder director of Oral Pathology 360 and also Oral Health 360, a global platform that unites specialists to advance the diagnosis and management of oral and maxillofacial diseases. And I'm proud to share that POPMA is an official organizational partner of Oral Pathology 360, and together we are working to create stronger, more collaborative academic and professional networks for oral pathologists across the world. Her professional journey is deeply intertwined with digital innovation, from hosting international conferences like International Oral Disease Case Presentation Conference and building cross border collaborations to developing educational resources that reach colleagues worldwide. But what makes her perspective especially valuable is that she does not just talk about technology from the outside, she lives it every day, navigating AI driven tools, digital platforms, and global networks. She has consistently emphasized that ethical responsibility that comes with this digital transformation. She is a strong advocate for safeguarding patient confidentiality, professional integrity, and ethical decision making in an era where technology is often faster than regulation. Her talk today is about guarding trust, ethical practice in the age of digital disruption. We'll address how small, everyday decisions with technology can impact the very foundation of trust our patients place in us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Mandana Donoghue, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, dear Bhuvan. It is really quite a privilege to be here on this platform, which is very close to us at Oral Pathology 360. And of course, it is a sad yet an honor to be presenting a session that is being dedicated to an stalwart like Dr. Anita Borges. She has a very special place in all our hearts, in all our mind, in all our training. And it is truly difficult to imagine pathology, at least in India, without her. It's still very difficult to, take that in, that at the next conference, she is not going to be there. And yet, I know she would want us to go on. So we shall strive on and try and keep her memory and her dedication to excellence always alive. So let me set up the share. 1 second. Yes. No. Mm, Share button gone. Yeah. Okay. Have we got the right thing? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. And let me shrink this other window. Right. Setting up for the technology takes a little longer than one is normally expecting. But yet, let me say again, good afternoon, and thank you, all of you, for having me here. Actually, my thought for this particular presentation started a few weeks back when I got myself a new mobile phone. And yes, as all of you know, shifting to a new mobile is really painful. It's a real pain. And in that middle of all that, this permission, this entry, that login, this one little window popped up which said, would you like to enhance your call quality? My almost immediate reaction was to hit yes. I mean, wow, that would be great, right? Especially considering we are having very bad call quality nowadays. But then something made me pause, because I know from the times when we do video editing that even if you have a video, if you have a file and you want to do anything with the voice, you have to isolate it, you have to save it, and only then you can improve it. So then it occurred to me, how is my phone going to do this live? Obviously it's going to, however instantaneous and without a lag it is going to save that voice, it is going to process it and improve the quality. And this is impossible practically without AI. So then, of course, I did not hit yes, because I don't like the idea of all my discussions and everything that I talk to with everybody just being available as a record. This is just one choice, but we make similar choices all the time. And the truth is, most of us are already using AI every single day, whether it is in call enhancements, photo filters, auto summaries, smart notes. They have become so normal that we hardly notice them nowadays. And then, of course, there is social media where we connect, share, and very gladly, put up so many things about ourselves. And sometimes patients, we share clinical photos, which in dentistry are inevitably of the face, and which make true anonymity very, very difficult. Now, I'm really not the kind of a person who's going to tell you, don't use technology and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. No, that's not me. And that actually is not logical or practical. I use digital tools, like Dr. Bhuvan said, constantly. I use them to teach, to organize, to connect across the globe, to send emails, to write captions, to post everything. In fact, my own version of ChatGPT on my desktop has even chosen a name for itself. It is called Zen. And it's a very trusty and very effective all rounder member of our team. And we all need trusty tools that help with our everyday work. And but same time, as doctors, we need to pause and ask, what are the ethical consequences of our everyday choices? There is no bypassing that requirement. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today. If you remember nothing else from this talk, I hope you will carry away three words: recognize, respect, and respond. Recognize by noticing where AI and social media are present, even when they are subtle. Respect confidentiality, recognizing that it is not just data protection, it is the foundation of the very trust on which our entire interaction with patients is based. And then respond, of course. For anything to really be meaningful, there has to be a response. So, practical safeguards and ethical judgment, even when the law hasn't caught up yet, is essential. Now, very often people think that AI is a very new, brand new thing, and it just happened when ChatGPT came out. That is not true. It's been around for almost 70 years. In 1956, already artificial intelligence, the term was coined. Its first medical use was in 1970 when they used it to decide that it could actually appropriately choose and dispense or suggest antibiotics. The main jump was, of course, in the 2010s when there was scaled data and deep learning that made things like Google Assistant and Siri possible. And of course, then was the generative AI of Chat GPT in 2020 and everything that came with it. But there is AI everywhere. Most of it, or I should say some of it, we know and they are visible. They're the ones we use every day. The branded AIs we choose every day to use. For example, ChatGPT, Gemini, which are chatbots, Copilot from Microsoft, Canva for images. And these are the typical ones that we use on a daily basis. But the fact is, there are many, many more tools, like the one popping up on my phone, which wasn't even saying we are going to use AI. Now, we don't think of most of them as AI, and then they are not. And the one more interesting thing is they're not really few. I mean, this is what I could find. There was a list of the top 65 popular AI tools by monthly visits. I have just put in the top 10. But if they have chosen 65 of the top, you can imagine how many are there. Now, these are the top 10. And I just would like to know how many you use. Maybe drop that number in the chat box. I can tell you that I regularly use five on a daily basis. But besides the ones that are obvious and we make a conscious choice to use, AI runs the tools we rely on every day. Gmail and Outlook, when they're predicting our sentences, identifying spam, and Zoom summarizing our meetings. Google search is using Gemini, Bing is using Copilot. In photo apps, AI is recognizing faces, identifying smiles. In WhatsApp, it's suggesting replies or organizing our chat. And we may not label it as AI, but that's exactly what it is. And it's touching sensitive information all the time. But before this, also, we should remember voice assistants have always been AI. What's new is that they have shifted from narrow comments to broad conversational tools and thinking. And the problem is that their storage is now on the cloud instead of on your device. Amongst you, I'm sure that so many of you are using Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. The idea of not getting up and walking, to do something is so much easier, and it helps. That is why we use voice assistants. But I also wonder if you realize that they are powered by AI and record and process your voice. So there's definitely a privacy risk for anything that's recording your voice. And voice assistants don't need to be malicious to create risk. Of course, no technology is ever malicious or criminal by itself. So, but the risk is real. Misheard, wake words, cloud storage, and policy shifts all mean our conversations may be captured in ways we don't realize. That is why recognizing them matters. I wonder, I think you must remember the stories that came up of people proposing to Alexa. When it came out, we laughed. Then we talked about loneliness and the effects on the social structure. But the one thing we didn't ask enough or we didn't talk about enough was just how do they know and how did they count if it is not being recorded? And Alexa is not even alone in this, in the sense Amazon is not alone in this. Similar missteps have caused Apple to settle a lawsuit of over $95 million dollars because Siri was caught listening even without a wake word. False triggers and unintended recordings are not uncommon, and they raise genuine concerns about confidentiality. In more recent times, people discovered that shared chat GPT conversations were indexed on Google search. You could actually search and find them. Many didn't realize that they had made their chat searchable because this option came up at one time that said, would you like your chats to be searchable? It was not really clear. Even I saw that. It was not clear as to searchable where. For a moment, I thought maybe it meant searchable within ChatGPT, but then I realized there's already the magnifying glass and there's already a search. So why would they be asking you again? And I am possibly as a by nature a little more suspicious, so I did not click it. And those who did click it suddenly found that their private conversations were visible just because they had clicked that button. Now, patient confidentiality in posts that were shared on social media already changed everything because while covering patients' eyes was enough in the days where you were only publishing in a textbook or maybe a medical journal, because the people reading it were limited, the access was never really that open, and frankly, why would an average person pick up a medical book to read? But it came to social media, it was open access. Now, in 2020, during another lecture, I just did this experiment. I picked up one image, this image in particular, and I just put it through the simple Google image search. I think it's called Google Lens. And it could give me exactly where else it was posted, and I could find out where was the first time it was posted. So, this thing of putting just a little band on patients' eyes to anonymize might have been enough before the days of social media, was already not enough in 2022. And I think today it is downright dangerously irresponsible. And to tell you how far AI is quietly doing things, here is an example from my own Facebook feed recently and WhatsApp chat. Notice the AI panel. It's summarizing and highlighting information here where we have this, how to register for a webinar, POPMA study club. This is quite regular now. And on WhatsApp, it's suggesting, telling me that it could help me organize my chats. Now think about this. If it is suggesting or doing these things, the capacity is there. It is very easy to imagine that it is actually recognizing even patients and data that may not be properly anonymized in our social media chats, or worse still, in our chats on WhatsApp. You don't anonymize data which comes to you from your patient. If you're talking to your patient, so many people use their phone and they WhatsApp. Doctors use it to interact with patients, and it's normal. Reports are constantly shared across WhatsApp. So, when you think about this, the risk becomes very real and very obvious. And the other part is, in this case, Meta AI, which is the AI for all of the Facebook world. The platform does not make it obvious what is it is storing, how it is used, or who can access it. Now, this is the invisible layer of AI. And unless we recognize it, we risk patient confidentiality without even recognizing it. This was a very interesting saying, and I think it really is true and very catchy. When it was from the earlier days of social media, when Pete Cashmore said, "Privacy is dead, and social media holds the smoking gun." I truly wonder what he would say about AI and what is AI doing. So, AI brings enormous possibilities, but also real risks. The problem is not always what we see, it's what's hidden. We are often working with a black box. We don't know exactly what data is collected or how it is used. On top of that, policies keep changing. One day your chat is private, the next day it might be searchable. Transparency is very patchy, and even with the best intentions, there can be unintended consequences. Now, this may list that I have put there may look very technical, but the heart of it is simple. With AI, we rarely know the full picture. That is why caution is not optional. And the biggest risk isn't what we know AI is doing, it's really what we don't know. And the fact that rules and safeguards naturally lag behind the very rapidly developing technology only adds to this. Now that we recognize the risk, let's understand what is at risk. Essentially, we need to know what patient privacy is against patient confidentiality. Now, privacy belongs to the patient, it is their right. They choose what to share and with whom. It covers everything from keeping their body unseen in an exam room to deciding what health details they want to disclose. Confidentiality, on the other hand, belongs to us as doctors. Once a patient has shared something with us, we have a duty to protect it. It is our professional and ethical obligation. To put it in a dental setting, privacy is a patient's choice to sit in the dental chair, open their mouth, and tell us their story. Confidentiality is what begins at that moment. Our duty to guard what they have revealed, whether that is visible in their face, stored in an image, or spoken in words and stored in their records. So, privacy is the patient's right, and confidentiality is our responsibility. Together, they form the foundation of trust. It's good to remember that confidentiality is not really a rule book entry. It's not something you know, okay, and you check it, one checkbox that says, I did it and it's done. No, it is so multifaceted. It's the trust that lets patients tell us the truth and follow our advice. And definitely, without their trust, there is no way that we would be able to heal them. But then this trust is also very fragile, and a variety of unintended failures can chip away at it. In fact, research has interestingly shown that 12% of patients may have less trust in their physicians who describe patient stories on social media, even when it is done responsibly and respectfully. Now, that is a very striking and interesting number because it shows that even well intended sharing can quietly erode trust. And this isn't just a global issue at all. Within India, studies have shown that over a third of medical students don't even realize that they need a special consent for clinical photography. Clinicians often post photographs without proper anonymization. And to that, the fact you can go to add to that the fact that Public trust in doctors is already fragile at a global level. And you can see how even small digital missteps can have very, very amplified effects. So each accidental leak, each identifiable photo, each moment of, casual sharing, whether or not a real harm occurs, may feel like a breach to the patient community, especially when society expects the highest level of confidentiality from doctors. Sometimes even the perception that there has been a breach is more than enough to cause damage. Now, why does all of this matter so much? Is it just to talk? No. It is really not even just numbers. A breach of data is just some numbers went. So, okay, no big deal. Damage from a breach goes far beyond clinical details, far beyond numbers, beyond just the fact that we may be breaking our medical council or a dental council law. For the patient, it has very real consequences. There can be mental and emotional distress. Sometimes you can imagine how difficult it is if a family member finds about a diagnosis on a public social platform. There can be stigma and discrimination that will affect the patient or their family socially. Financially, patients may face higher insurance premiums, lose jobs, promotions, and other opportunities. And looking ahead, with data mining and the fact that frankly all our contacts can easily be put together, even from something very simple as uh, from probably our Facebook profile, can tell you who's your parents, who's your children, who's your siblings, and in return say it for them. So literally, I think today it may be easier to get somebody's pedigree profile set from Facebook than it is from even asking them. Now put all of this together, and the fact that genetic links are being found increasingly for different diseases. So this actually may put, if this link of one patient, one person in that entire picture having a disease, if that is leaked or that comes out, there's a possibility that it will affect the entire family. It's genetic. It will affect the entire family and God knows for how many generations. Literally, the outcome is impossible to evaluate as to the extent of the damage. So, to put it simply, the damage of breach is not only clinical. This we have to remember again. It can be emotional, social, financial, and even generational. And that is why all our safeguards matter. You might, of course, ask, well, aren't there any laws? Of course, there are laws. In India, the Medical Council regulations require confidentiality, and any breach in professional misconduct is punishable. We also have similar laws otherwise that apply to us dentists. The Supreme Court has declared privacy a fundamental right, so it goes well beyond health, privacy as a whole. We also have the IT Act and now the DPDP Act, which is the first digital privacy law. Internationally, there are stronger frameworks like the HIPAA in the US, which is for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And why insurance? Because there everything is through the insurance. And the GDPR in EU, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, which the EU has brought about. If from wherever in the world, if you're sharing data or receiving data from there, it comes into effect. But there is a catch. The laws don't cover our everyday social and digital realities. They don't cover Instagram or WhatsApp groups. They can't keep up with fast moving AI platforms, obviously, because frankly, no one can. To have a law that is effective, you have to identify what you want to have a law about. It has to be specific. Then there have to be discussions and its ramifications. Then the law has to be formed. Then it has to be passed, and then it has to come into effect. Before even probably the first step of this happens in today's world, already the standard has changed. There is such constant change in terms of what is happening with AI that there is no way for rules to be able to keep up. They cannot go through the entire set of process of making a law and enacting it in the time that is required. So That is why it is really not possible for the laws to keep up, is one thing. Another thing is servers, where a lot of these things are stored and processed, are in different countries. So where the breach occurred may not be in the same geographic rules and regulations, under the same regulations, as where the company or the storage is. And this makes any form of legal remedy very difficult. So while it's useful to know the laws, naturally, and you don't want to fall, foul of the laws, but our duty as doctor goes deeper. We can't truly and completely rely on regulation alone. So ethics have to lead the way as far as we are concerned. One of the most major things that I think everybody maybe falls short of is the appropriate consent. Forgetting that it is not just consent, the word informed is very important. And just ticking a box is not enough. It is necessary to remember and to update and to keep changing it, purpose by purpose, case by case. And every patient's agreement has to be taken for everything. Now, when we normally think about an informed consent, what we do is we ask, you're supposed to inform them of all the risks, right? So we inform them of the risks of the process. When you were taking a release for a clinical photograph, which you even might have told the patient, we are going to publish, did you tell them what could be the outcomes? Did you list the risks, like we discussed earlier, to them, that these could be all the risks? Now, this is also an important part of informed consent, and we shouldn't forget it. It is very important that we take it, and also remember that a permission for a clinical photograph is not the same as a permission to post it on Facebook or upload it into AI tool, whether the photograph or the clinical notes. Now, each new use always requires a few fresh conversation with the patient. And because consent is not just a signature, it's a process. Every single time you need to keep redoing it, you need to keep rethinking it within your own staff, within your colleagues and department, and then enacting it also with your patients. The old rule, first to no harm. And our ethical duty, of course, runs way deeper than the law, as this is very obvious. To do no harm means not only avoiding physical injury, of course, that is natural, but also protecting dignity and privacy. And that is the true meaning of respecting confidentiality, which is not about protecting data alone, it is about protecting dignity and trust. But at the end of it all, recognizing and respecting aren't enough. We must respond. There is no amount of good intention that will mean anything if you don't actually put it into some form of an action. So, what is the action you can do? Let's start from the very basics. Remember to anonymize files. Never keep them and share them from the original folder, which has any names or other details attached to it. Remove names, crop faces, never share identifiable cases in professional groups. Do not share simple details, even like your location, your hospital's location, the paper's location, the patient's age, sex, because a timeline, because frankly, any of these can easily bring the patient's details to people. Remember, today we are in an hyper connected world and truly a global village. News will travel. And think of your devices as a part of your clinic. Use strong passwords. Never, never let your password be password. And it happens, believe me, it happens. I had seen a study where they actually checked, and I couldn't get you the details, but how many people's password was password? It's ridiculous. It's the equivalent of leaving your key to your house under a mat in the front, you know, at the front door. Now, the two-factor authentication is very essential. It is necessary to use genuine software because they are the ones that update regularly and have no weaknesses. And definitely lock. or lock your devices when you are not using them. If your phone or laptop or anywhere where you store data is insecure, it's like having your clinic insecure and not locked. And you have to remember, not all platforms are equal. WhatsApp is great for chatting, and yes, our chats are end to end encrypted, like they tell us ad nauseum, but it is not a vault for patient data. Use secure apps and encrypted storage for records. Mute or disable always listening devices like Alexa in your clinic. And if you have data that's come to you, say on your phone on WhatsApp, which is likely, remove it from there, shift it to another storage device, and just delete it from your WhatsApp. Finally, AI is powerful, yes, but also very risky. Risks and benefits always are two sides of a coin. So they always kind of match each other. Sorry. Never upload identifiable patient data into free tools. Stick to vetted platforms. Check where the data is stored. Turn off share defaults. Always verify outputs, and above all, get specific consent. you know um, Perplexity is a very common thing that's just taking off very much in India, because it comes 1 year subscription is coming free right now um, with some connections. I think Airtel is giving it free with your 1 year connection. And I of course got it. I mean, it's AI, it's fun, it's a new tool. But what I found was I could not identify from where to turn off the option where they use the data for training AI, which basically says it's being shared. So the easiest thing I did was I put a chat into Perplexity asking it, how can I disable it? And it led me right to the answer. It's AI. It knows everything. It knows things. So that's the easiest way. If you cannot find, ask the same AI or ask another AI, how can I do this? You will get your answer. It's the easiest. So AI can support us, definitely, but it really cannot carry our ethical responsibility. That will never happen. And technology will always run ahead of regulation. That's why our response must be grounded in our ethics, where it's easier. We know what is right, what is wrong, and the standard remains. And protecting everyone's dignity and confidentiality is, of course, a responsibility we bear. And have to remember that it is not confidentiality is not protected by intention alone. It requires systems and habits that are in place and followed. So to wrap up, today we asked how we guard trust in the age of digital disruption. And we saw that AI and social media are woven into our lives in ways we often don't notice. That's why the first step is to recognize, to be aware of where these tools are present, even when subtle. Then we must respect, remembering that confidentiality is not about protecting data alone, but about protecting dignity and trust. A breach can ripple through patients, families, and communities. Finally, we must respond with safeguards, with careful consent, with responsible use of AI, and with daily ethical habits that protect people as much as they protect the information. Now, I told you at the start about Zell, my ever present, ever useful, and ever active AI teammate. I rely on it, but it cannot carry my ethical responsibility. And that stays with me. And in now, within oral pathology 360, I don't really see patients. In fact, I have not seen patients for quite some time. But then I am still the guardian of all the cases, all the content that is shared through the channel. And any of you who have been following the channel closely will remember that recently we had to pull back a video. We unlisted it because a patient's face was clearly visible, simply because it was a necessity. And the presenter had permission from the patient for actually using their face. But when I thought about it, and it was quite a decision, but I thought about it and I realized that there was probably no way this patient could have realized the reach of YouTube and the permanency of that content forever remaining on YouTube. So, with that in mind, we decided that to err on the side of dignity and not release the video. We withdrew. We took it off the public setting. And I guess that is exactly what guarding trust will look like in practice. So, yes, I have Zell on my side, but more importantly, our community of patients and colleagues must always know that they have us on theirs. But in the end, technology will keep evolving, but our greatest responsibility remains unchanged, and it is to do no harm, to guard the trust of our patients. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but it really needs to get there. And here is for something that you can think about as we break away. It's an interesting thing that I found. And if you look at that date at the corner, interestingly, it's 2011. It's not new. Anyway, think about this. Thank you for being with us. And let's see if you have any questions.
So I'm back.
Yes,
Uh,
let me
as of
stop.
now, in the chat box, there are no questions. I'll allow the settings to so that they can ask their questions.
Cool.
So I request all the attendees to post their queries, or they can unmute themselves and ask the queries or questions to ma'am. Ma'am, there is a question
Uh-huh.
from Dr. Mandeep.
Mm.
How do we train ourselves about AI?
Well, there are actually, it is now much easier to use AI. To begin with, and I'm assuming you're talking about how to specifically use it. I mean, in terms of like, to begin with, there used to be that you have to have a specific prompt and how to word the prompt and accordingly get a result. Today, already, you have to realize that that does not exist anymore. Today, you can open ChatGPT and have a conversation with it, literally a conversation. Okay. And you can say, this is my thought process and this is what I want to say. This is the kind of a tone I want. And what is the best way to say it? It will give you an idea. Then you can say, okay, I want it shorter. It'll give you that idea. Then you can say, I want it to be, at the understanding level of someone in school. It will bring down the language. You can ask it, will this be, considered, say, for example, it has given you an answer. And you can say, how will, let's say you created a content for school children. And you ask it, what will be the response of those children when they read it? It will even give you that as to what are the different ways it can be interpreted or understood by children in terms of the tone, in terms of the hidden message that may be there, the ideas that are there. So, right now, using AI is really not that difficult. Like I said, when you have a doubt, in fact, you can ask the same AI what I can do. You can ask the AI, I need to fulfill this project. What will be the best prompt to get it? And it will give you the prompt. So it's really not that difficult. Don't bother about those little posts that say, 1,000 ways to prompt Chat GPT in 10 minutes. It's silly. In fact, I asked Chat GPT that. I said, because I have been using ChatGPT for a long time. So in one of the conversations, I said, to begin with, things were very different and we required very specific prompts that I had to have while interacting with you. But today I find increasingly that we hold a conversation. But on the other hand, I also see these advertisements which say 1,000 prompts to ChatGPT. So, am I missing something or are those wrong? So, it actually answered me saying, those are now not required anymore. What you are doing, because yes, that was required to begin with, interacting with me required very specific designs. But the fact is, today we don't need it. So, like I said, whatever doubt you have, ask it, it will tell you.
Very right, ma'am. We have another question, ma'am, from Dr. Bhadranna. He's saying that it was a wonderful lecture. Yes, indeed, it's a wonderful lecture. Will sharing PDF form of reports are safe with the patients, or a password protected PDF would be a better to share the report?
So you got to remember, of course, I have to say a password protected will be much better, because today it is not the same as when you were sending an email specifically to the person's email box with their report. Today, if you're sending it on WhatsApp, again, I have to say, you have to remember anyone can get access to it. And once they do, if they just click on it, it's open. Now, it could even be just a family member or it could be anybody. Technically, if it is already in the patient's phone and the breach occurs there, it's not your legal responsibility. But on the other hand, uh, ethically, it makes it easier, it makes it better, because patients sometimes can't see. A patient, we should remember, is reacting or going through a disease once in a lifetime. They can't think about all its aspects. We do this professionally, we do this for a lifetime. There is a difference. So we are the ones who know. So it is better if we take all the steps that even they may not take in protecting them. And another thing that I have seen very often is within our groups, you will see PDFs, you will see reports, you will see pictures, you will see results, all sorts of things that are being shared. And I wanted to put this in the lecture, but I didn't want the lecture to become too long. So I'm just saying it here. From experience, we all know that human beings, not just doctors, but human beings are the least careful and dependable in a group. The minute we get together, we are just not the same people half the time. Individually, everybody may be very, very careful. They get together and everything is out the window. So make sure it's your patient, it's your responsibility. You cannot expect others in the group to take care. I'm sorry, Dr. Varrana. I know I went beyond what you asked, but it sort of just happened.
Hmm. No,
Okay.
but it was very valid point, ma'am, which during the sort of like exchange of ideas or exchange of opinions, ma'am, what's your take on sharing the histopathology photographs? Because we deal with a lot of
Mm.
the microscopic pictures. So, because those are at the tissue level, again, legally, if we go, then it's a living thing and you have taken photograph. But in a group of doctors, uh, all these things are shared in good faith. The law always says when you do something in a good faith without any malicious intention. So, like, what's your opinion or take on that?
See, in a lot of ways, I think, of course, good faith is definitely always there. But um, it's something like this. Let's take a hypothetical situation. I'm in a WhatsApp group with a group of oral pathologists, and we are sharing cases, histopathology of cases, right? But eventually it is known. I mean, you would know in which city I am, I would know in which city you are. And if the case is very rare, okay, this may not be a problem, say, if you're sharing a radicular cyst or a pyogenic granuloma. But if it is one of those things with a 1 in 100,000 or 1 in 500,000 occurrence, which is the more likely case of what is being shared, then somewhere through, it can happen that it comes back to the patient. The problem is never sharing that data. The problem is if it links back to the patient. A histopathology picture by itself means nothing. It doesn't matter. The histopathology picture means something when it is known that the patient XYZ is the person from who this tissue came.
Yeah, right. So the name has to be masked, only
Yes.
the architecture. Because I've seen, ma'am, in many of the forensic conferences
Hmm.
also, they are displaying the full photos. And
Yes.
a disclaimer is also there, please don't click photographs and all. But
Hmm.
what's
That's not
your,
enough.
like, it should
That's
not,
not enough.
yeah.
That is,
Because, and some cases were under trial. So, can,
yes,
yeah. So,
that's definitely not enough. Even for, in fact, I would say, a lot of ways for the even oral pathology or any case is you put a standard where you don't share any case for 6 months.
mhm,
It becomes very difficult to link it back to a patient.
mhm,
Even if it is a person from within your own institution who sees it
mhm,
and decides that they want to find out who the patient was, it becomes very difficult to be able to go back and find, because they won't know exactly what day, what date, you know. So if
right.
you make a personal choice that I'm going to take, no case of mine is going to ever be shared in a group,
Mhm,
okay, before it is 6 months. And I think if you want to take a second opinion, I totally disagree with this concept of sharing it in a group, even if it is an oral pathologist group, just because to get a second opinion. That second opinion from a group means nothing.
mhm,
Just because XYZ in the group said, I think it is this, are you really going to, as a person, follow that?
right,
No, you are not. You will not, risk your name and your practice on XYZ having made the right diagnosis.
right.
So when you need an actual second opinion, send it to an individual with a specific note saying, I need a second opinion. Then that person also, the minute they agree to to give you a second opinion, whether it is free or whether it is paid, they are then bound by the same rules that you are bound as far as that patient is concerned.
Right.
And this is the way I think. There are, of course, no written rules anywhere about this.
Ethics is never written, ma'am. It has to, it is the moral duty of
Yes.
everyone. We have another, ma'am, not a question, not questions, but good comments by Dr. Madhu Shankari, ma'am. It was really a good presentation, and she feels that AI is more technical, and we as humans using AI should be more empathetic and responsible.
Yes.
And Professor Joes, he says that your lecture should become a standard undergraduate and postgraduate event in any dental school.
Thank
Very
you
right.
so
I,
much,
I,
everyone.
I totally agree with that.
Thank you.
And
That's very kind.
any more questions from the audience? If they want to ask directly, they can put on their mics and they can do the
I
same.
asked in the beginning as to how many are using AI tools, and I saw someone saying one and someone saying three. Is there
Yeah.
anywhere where you can now put in the chat how many AI tools you use?
Mm,
I know you use Chat GPT, Bhuvan.
yeah, yeah. One is that. Apart from that, I don't use.
No? Are you sure you're not using things like Grammarly? Grammarly also is AI.
No, I'm not using them.
Dr. Vatrana uses Chat GPT or Canva.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Vatrana, you also use Canva. Nice.
Canva is there with me. I use all the premium versions, thinking to be more safe and all. But I'll
Yeah, that is
go.
true. The premium versions are more safe because they give you
And
they are
now there are,
theoretically not supposed to be used for training. Theoretically,
yes, yes, yes.
Dr.
So
Joss
that
also
is.
uses five.
Hmm.
Yes,
No, other Gemini and other Meta, all those things I don't.
you don't
Only
use.
for my AI assistant is ChatGPT.
Hmm.
And Alexa and Google, we keep it aside. I know those are also a
They are
very
there, and for all my being so involved with technology, the voice ones were something I never used. I have always been immensely suspicious of the voice ones. It's
Mhm.
odd, I know. And I know it's convenient sometimes when I feel, oh God, I wish I could, just sort of say this and get it done. It is possible, but I always feel that it is practically impossible to know when it will wake up, because it will be always listening, and all it has is exactly that. Accidentally it will wake up and it will record and it will do something. So
Right.
I've just had that.
So, yes, Dr. Bhadrana is saying as we
Yes, true.
speak, we are being heard, analyzed, and maybe laughed at. So you can't escape me.
Most
Right.
definitely, Zoom is definitely already analyzing, transcripting, and making a
Yes.
summary of the meeting, of course.
Now, today only I was reading one research. The brain activity has reduced to a major level. People using AI.
Yeah, definitely. Most
So
definitely.
that's why the best thing is to read textbooks. I know these are the things which we cannot escape. To be very
Hmm.
frank, either social media or technology, we have to change with time. But like as it is said, nuclear thing can make a bomb, also can make electricity also. So
Yes,
it is our wisdom to use it in which way
true.
we want.
Very
Anyway,
true.
ma'am, I think no
Yes.
more questions.
No, no more questions.
So, on behalf of POPMA Study Club team, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Mandana ma'am for delivering such an insightful and thought-provoking lecture. And your session has not only enriched our understanding of ethics in the digital age, but also inspired us to reflect on our responsibilities as healthcare professionals in this evolving landscape. The clarity of the ideas, the depth of your knowledge, and the relevance of your examples has made the session impactful and engaging.
Yeah.
We are grateful for the time and efforts you have dedicated, and your contribution has undoubtedly value to our academic journey and continue to guide us in our professional practice.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much. And that was the little heart I sent to everybody, to you and to everyone else.
so this
Yes.
is your certificate, ma'am, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's like reversing the chair, like who wants to be millionaire? No, the what should I say? Like a prominent star changing the chair. So it was when I was sitting, I was thinking as if I have come for some talk. So it's always good to change the roles, ma'am. And seriously, I learned a lot of things while organizing the conference with you, ma'am, and seeing your way how to go about it. So we learn from our mentors and get inspired by them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for
And
being
I
here.
request everyone to put on their cameras for a group photograph.
Oh, Dr. Anuj, you're back. Okay. Hi, Madhu. Hi, Abhishek.
Yes.
But my mic is on.
You can put on. Okay. Just see. You can unmute yourself. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can be done.
Yes. Yes.
Hi,
So.
Dr. Bhuvan.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
part.
it was a very
Hi.
nice presentation.
Yes. Yes. Hi, Dr. Abhishek.
Yeah, hi.
Sir is traveling today.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Okay, one more. So, with that, we are on time, ma'am. It's now
Yes.
4 p.m.
Exactly 4
So,
p.m.
the next set of study club will be after the conference. The dates will be announced. Please stay tuned. and please gear up for our first national conference of POPMA, that is Practicing Oral Pathologist Conference 2025, and that's on 4th and 5th of October. And third, we have poster presentations. So see you there who all have registered for the conference, and those who have not, they can be a part of the conference. So till then, uh, stay tuned to all the updates, and thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am, and bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye everyone.